Welcome to This Explainer. You know, there is a totally fascinating transformation happening in the world of finance right now. We're going to be diving into how Deutsche Bank is taking these incredibly complex, literally mountainous piles of financial data and turning them into high-value, actionable insights for their clients, all by using artificial intelligence. If you've ever wondered how the really big institutions are practically applying AI to drive real business results, well, you're absolutely in the right place. We're going to look at the very real impact of a totally new tool they've built called DB Lumina.
Okay, so to really understand this shift, we kind of have to start with a massive question that gets right to the heart of a huge bottleneck in modern business. I mean, really think about this for a second. What if weeks of painstaking, incredibly tedious financial research took mere seconds? We're not talking about cutting corners here. We're talking about fundamentally changing how fast we can get to the answers that actually matter to clients.
To get why this is such a massive game changer, we have to look at the reality of the financial research bottleneck. Traditionally, financial analysts are these brilliant, highly trained people who spend, well, entirely too much of their time just acting as data gatherers. They sift through endless, hundreds of pages long SEC filings, pull together unstructured data, and build these totally manual models. It's a grueling process that severely limits the time they have left for what they're actually hired to do, which is providing high-value, strategic analysis for their clients. It's honestly like having a master chef spend 90% of their day just chopping onions.
So we're looking at a complete 180 here. We're moving away from the old way, that exhausting, manual heavy lifting, to a totally new era of instant, AI-empowered insights. When you replace the grunt work of data extraction with instant summarization, you aren't replacing the analyst. Actually, scratch that. You're totally upgrading them. You're giving them the freedom to spend their day actually analyzing the why and the what's next, which, let's be real, is exactly what clients are paying for. To solve this massive bottleneck, Deutsche Bank built DB Lumina. It's a secure, GenAI enterprise research assistant powered by Google Cloud's Gemini. Now, since we're focusing on the business value today, we really don't need to get bogged down in the technical weeds of the back-end architecture. What you do need to know is that this is an enterprise-grade, highly secure assistant. In a heavily regulated sector like finance, you obviously can't just plug confidential data into a public chatbot. So DB Lumina was built specifically to keep data totally private while still giving analysts a world-class AI partner right at their fingertips.
And executive validation is absolutely key here. Pan Finelli, the global COO for investment research at Deutsche Bank, views DB Lumina not just as some nifty new software tool, but as a foundational pillar for responsible innovation. It's really the launching pad. When leadership buys in at this level, it signals a massive cultural shift in how an organization intends to deliver value to its clients for decades to come.
Okay, but how does this actually empower the analyst on a day-to-day basis? Let's skip the back-end technology entirely and focus purely on the user experience. What does an analyst actually see and do that makes their work so much better?
The workflow is incredibly user-friendly, and it solves the absolute biggest problem with AI, which is trust. First, analysts just ask a question in a chat interface, exactly like they're talking to a colleague. Second, the assistant securely pulls from trusted, approved internal research and official documents like SEC filings. It's not hallucinating or guessing, it's looking at the real data. And third, and this is definitely the magic part, it instantly provides answers with inline citations. Every single claim has a footnote linking directly back to the source document, so everything can be immediately fact-checked. For a financial client relying on this data, that verifiable accuracy is literally everything.
And it goes way beyond just a simple chat interface. Analysts can also use standardized prompt templates. Think of these as incredibly smart, reusable recipes for repetitive tasks. If you have to summarize a massive document or extract specific revenue numbers the exact same way every single quarter, you don't want to type out those instructions every time, right? You just use a prompt template. This ensures really consistent, high-quality outcomes. And even better, these templates can be saved and shared across the entire team. So the best practices of your top analysts instantly become the standard for everyone else.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks. The crucial point here is the actual return on investment. All these features sound great, but how does this translate to tangible business value and better results for the clients? Because if it doesn't improve the client's position, it's just a shiny new toy. So let's look at the numbers.
2 hours. Analysts using DB Lumina reporting that they save up to 2 full hours on specific critical tasks like writing research reports and preparing roadshow updates. Now, in the incredibly fast-paced world of finance, saving 2 hours on a single report is literally the difference between being first to market with an insight or just being yesterday's news. It is a massive competitive advantage. And what exactly do they do with those saved hours? Well, they don't just go home early. The impact is huge. By eliminating the low-value manual work, one analyst was actually able to use that saved time to increase the depth of an earnings report by an incredible 50%. They added entirely new sections, breaking down data by region and activity. The client didn't just get the report faster, they got a significantly richer, smarter, and much more comprehensive piece of strategic advice. That is pure added value.
The overall business impact across the board is staggering. Beyond the massive time savings and the 50% deeper client analysis, teams are uncovering entirely new analysis opportunities. For example, some teams are using DB Lumina to quickly analyze and score the language in central bank communications to measure exactly how economic policies are shifting. That's something that would be incredibly tedious to try and do manually. And surprisingly, it's even noticeably improving the editorial quality and grammatical accuracy of their client-facing notes, making sure the final product is perfectly polished and professional.
Because this added value is just so incredibly clear to anyone who touches it, the platform has seen insanely rapid adoption. It's already in the hands of 5,000 analysts, and Deutsche Bank has solid plans to double that footprint to 10,000 corporate users across the bank by the end of the year. You definitely don't scale a tool that quickly unless it's fundamentally improving your core business operations.
But here is honestly the most exciting part of this whole explainer. DB Lumina, as powerful as it is right now, today, is really just the beginning of how financial institutions are going to interact with their data. The true transformation is still unfolding.
The roadmap points directly toward what's called agentic AI. Now, don't let that term intimidate you. It's actually pretty simple. It just means digital assistants that go way beyond simply finding a document for you. Instead of just retrieving information, an agentic AI will actually actively reason. It'll plan out a series of actions, refine its own searches if it doesn't find the perfect answer immediately, and actively work to solve really complex financial inquiries. It upgrades the AI from being an incredibly fast librarian to being an incredibly capable digital coworker. So as we wrap things up, I want you to ask yourself, how will integrating these reasoning, AI-driven workflows completely transform the insights and the value your team delivers tomorrow? Because the bottleneck of manual research is literally being broken right now as we speak. The companies that embrace this AI edge won't just be working faster. They're going to be delivering a level of insight and client value that was previously unimaginable. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to think about how these same concepts could apply to your own industry and your own clients.